Hello, everyone. My name is Jakobi Davis, and I'm currently a freshman at Cornell University, intending to major in civil engineering with a focus in environmental sustainability. During InstructureCon this year, we have heard from a multitude of individuals who are passionate about amplifying teaching and elevating learning in their community and around the world. Now, as we finish this year's virtual event, I'm excited for you to join me for this concluding keynote as we learn more about how musician, entrepreneur, and philanthropist will.i.am has used his influence to give underprivileged students the resources to strive in the education system and all future endeavors. In fact, he's taken it one step further, moving from influence into full action mode. will.i.am is establishing an after-school tutoring center, a STEM magnet high school program, and is now in the process of setting up more than 400 robotics clubs in collaboration with the Los Angeles Unified School District. Will, thanks for talking with us today.
Hey, Jakobi.
How you doing?
I'm good. It's good to be here.
Awesome. Well, I'll jump right into it. You are a multifaceted individual, to say the least, from producing to songwriting to starring in the new TV series Alter Ego on Fox, not to mention your brilliant appearance on Sesame Street, plus all your work in philanthropy. What kind of motivates you to continue striving for such greatness in your work? And how have you incorporating the strive for excellence to motivate the underserved students in your enrichment programs?
I like to be in and around solving problems and creativity, and no matter what the discipline is. The reason why I do philanthropy or try my best to solve problems for kids that are, left behind or no development or underserved is because I was a recipient of somebody's do-gooding. Right. Growing up in East Los Angeles, in the projects, someone thought of an idea a couple of generations before me to send kids from those types of living conditions to a better neighborhood to get awesome education. I received one of those opportunities. I was bused out 2 hours away from my neighborhood to go to school in Brentwood and learn science in oceanography and computer labs. And then when I had success in music, I wanted to go back to my neighborhood to bring those skill sets to my neighborhood. So yeah, I like to be around people trying to solve problems.
Trying to solve problems. That's the same thing I try to do as an engineer. We take everyday problems and we try to find solutions to them. And so, as me and you were talking today, I kind of want to keep in mind that we're speaking to a larger group of leaders in education that are using Canvas and all other types of platforms to be able to communicate with their students, especially in such trying times as this COVID pandemic. So for you, how did your education growing up influence your decision to get involved with the next generation of students?
My teachers, I know my first grade teacher was Miss Walker.
Wow.
My second grade teacher was Miss Holland. Third grade teacher was Miss Taylor. Fourth grade teacher, Miss Rich. Fifth grade teacher, Miss Fox. Sixth grade teacher, Mr. Wright. And then I went to junior high school. My math teacher was Mr. Hamanishi. History was Mr. Hamanishi. My math teacher was Miss Otto. My gym teacher was Mr. Khan. I remember these teachers. Yeah. And then when I went to high school, Miss Montez, Mr. Allen, these people really motivated me, and they were awesome teachers. Right. And the ones that really stand out, the ones that really encouraged me were Mr. Wright, Miss Montez. Those two changed my life. Awesome. And even when I graduated high school, I would go back to those high schools and elementary schools just to say hi to those teachers. Yeah. And to the point where, like I said, I wasn't the best student, but I was the student that was the most curious. I always asked questions. Maybe my attention, I was always hyperactive. So, and in my neighborhood, we couldn't afford medicine for my hyperactivity. Yeah. So my teachers would I excelled creatively. And these teachers were like super hands-on and encouraging me to really move towards like what I was good at.
Right.
And they had the patience with me.
Right.
And so that kind of encouragement goes a long way. To be acknowledged and encouraged and told that you are good at something, that's all the boom I needed. When I say boom, I'm talking about just like the big bang. It was like a big bang, a big atomic boom of force to just make me believe in myself. And so when I had success, I wanted to bring that same type of encouragement to the kids in my neighborhood. And bringing teams of people to encourage them. So I have a robotics program in my neighborhood, computer science skill sets. We have an after-school program, which is like a college prep program. But in our robotics program, our team has brought folks from, Boeing to mentor our kids, NASA to mentor our kids. So these types of these types of interactions to let them know that we take them serious and you should take yourself serious as well. That goes a long way, especially in the inner city where people they look down upon inner city kids or they're problematic. It's underserved, but when you say the word underserved, no one ever thinks about the server. Like when you think of underdeveloped, no one ever thinks like, well, who is this developer that's underdeveloping these communities? Like, who is this person? Because it is a couple of people that are making decisions to make it to where the funding for inner city kids' education is $5,000 versus the funding for a kid in Brentwood is $10,000. Again, who's responsible for that? So these developers that are responsible for underdeveloped communities and these servers that are responsible for underserved communities, that's a league of folks.
Right.
That's like a crew.
Right.
Of folks that are and you could combat that by doing your part, playing your part. And we play our part, and we have an amazing team like Tatiana, who runs the foundation, Lily, who is hands-on with the kids in the robotics and across all their touch points, Oscar, even Sally helps out with our kids. So yeah, we have a great small team that gets it done.
I think that's super important that you're even able to remember all of those names of the people that have helped you throughout the years. Even me through personal experience and through my own journey in life, getting to Cornell, I've realized that you can't do anything alone, right? It's always a team of people that make those dreams a reality. So that's beautiful. And now as we continue to talk about your initiatives and things along those lines, the I Am Angel Foundation. Why did you create the I Am Angel Foundation? And why is it so important that it's STEM and STEAM focused?
Okay, so when you have success in music, the parts of the world call you, to bring awareness to tsunami reliefs, to bring awareness to earthquake relief, to bring awareness to any type of, natural disaster or someone running for, office. They want to help you shine lights on areas. Companies want you to help them sell their products. But there was this one time when we were in South Africa, and I realized that I'm ignoring my community. There was another time where I was in Bande Aceh for tsunami relief. It was 2005 March. It was my birthday. And I'm like, what am I going to do on my birthday? I don't want to have a party. Ooh, I'm going to go to Indonesia and I'm going to do tsunami relief. Because I don't really like celebrating my birthday. So it's like, I want to be a part of something. I want to go out. I want to help. That's what I want to do on my birthday. So I flew out to Indonesia with UNICEF, and I did, I helped out and participated in tsunami relief. But then when I was there, I was like, wow, there's a tsunami every single day in my neighborhood. A tsunami of neglect, a tsunami of no opportunities. I was like, I'm really ignoring my neighborhood. So I told myself, if we could just get a little bit higher in success with music, I'm going to go back to my neighborhood because now I don't really have to rely on too much.
Right.
I could do it on my own. So we had some more success, and I went back in 2008, and I we started with 65 kids, and that 65 kids turned into 100 kids the next year. The next year was 200 kids, and now we were up to 1,500 kids over the course of 11 years, and every single year our kids graduate. 100% graduation rate. We've sent kids to Brown, to Dartmouth, to Stanford, to UCLA, USC. We have kids going to Berkeley, Georgetown, Cal State LA, UC San Diego, UC Irvine, Northridge. Like, we have some really awesome scholars. And the majority of the kids in my neighborhood that come to my program are predominantly Mexican, because I grew up in an all Mexican neighborhood. And the reason why we focus on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics is because these are the skill sets to change not only the community, but they're going to change the world.
Right.
Here we are Zooming. I'm in Paris. Are you in Florida right now?
I'm in New York at Cornell right now.
Wow. Let's go, Jakobi. You're at Cornell in New York right now. I'm in Paris. Zoom just came out of nowhere.
Right.
But somebody created this.
Right.
Somebody created this platform.
Right.
And it changed like work relations. It changed, remote working.
Right.
It changed like people coming together. We could all come together and it kind of feels seamless. Right. And the technology is going to get better and better and better. But more importantly, people that come from our neighborhoods are not creating, these technologies. Why? Yes. Why can't we create these technologies? Why can't we, bring to market awesomeness that helps companies work better, that helps hospitals function better? Why can't we create enterprise tools? Why can't we create machine learning protocols that, help the machine better society? Why can't we train data? Why can't we create algorithms? Because if you're an Uber driver and a truck driver or some type of cashier, that's not your job in 2030.
Right.
The inner city is going to get hit the hardest when these technologies are more advanced and deployed throughout our society. So one, it's a humane thing to do to make sure that people are brought up to speed, knowing that job displacement is like right around the corner in ways that we could not even imagine. Right. So if every time new technology comes, old technology gets disrupted, right? And if we've had things like coal miners, jobs displaced, in the next 8 to 12 years, there's going to be so many displacements of jobs. And so we have to do like job preparation. We have to do like, and also reskilling. Upskilling and reskilling is a thing that we need to focus on. So me and my small team can't do it all. The things that we can do is like picking a group of kids that come from a community that I come from and like focus with all love and energy to make sure that those group of kids, are attended to and encouraged.
Right. And
like the LAUSD acknowledged it. Now we're on our way to be able to scale our robotics program to 400 schools across LA, which will take us to serving 15,000 students.
Congratulations, to say the least. Through all the scholarship funding that you've actually been able to get kids into these big universities to finally go towards their STEM educations, and B, to be able to provide them with something that's actually entertaining for them, for them to actually be excited about coming in and learning about robotics and to be that wave of the future. So, Will, you talk a lot about positive affirmations and manifesting things for yourself so that you can go out and kind of make your dreams a reality, right? And for a lot of teachers and for a lot of parents, what piece of advice would you give them in terms of encouraging their students and their kids in such perilous times, like with COVID, with the switch to online learning, with so many external distractions? What would you say to kind of put those kids on the correct track?
We are at all of society is at a crossroads that we've never been in. Like, I remember growing up and there would be kids from Hollywood that were like child actors that were my age, and you'd be like, "Yo, what school you go to?" She'd be like, "I'm homeschooled." Like, homeschooled? Like, you don't be around with nobody? Like I remember like growing up, like you're homeschooled, so you don't have no interaction with folks in the classroom and in the playground. Like we always thought folks that were homeschooled were just a little bit weird because they never really were like interacting with folks. And even their penmanship was like weird. Like you would like meet somebody that's homeschooled, and then when they would write, you'd be like, "Yo, you write like you were." But now homeschooled is like 2020 told us that homeschooled could be pretty efficient because now we have like the most powerful device ever imagined. Like this device is really, really powerful. The computer, the phone, you have the world's information right there if you use it right. And it hasn't even gotten to the point where it's going to go when it comes to education yet. Right? And now, like, if you think about like why Mr. Wright was awesome for me, why Miss Montez was amazing for me, because they had the patience to work with kids that were hyper. It's gotten to the point where it used to, where like a teacher expected every student to be the same so they could like have an easier job teaching everybody the same way. Then you have like all these like, you know, wrongly diagnosed like cases where kids are on Ritalin when they shouldn't necessarily have to have gotten on Ritalin. They should have just been encouraged and like aimed towards a thing that they really excelled in. Right. So here we are in this crossroads. Both teachers and parents, starting with parents, need to encourage their kids in ways that they've never before. Yeah. To compete, because the world is we have a beautiful tomorrow, or we could have like a concerning tomorrow. Yeah. Especially being Americans, like who are we competing with? And if we are like, if I was a parent, like I don't have kids, but if I was a parent, I mean, I have a lot of kids that are not mine, that I love them, but I don't have my own kids. But if I had my own kids, I would encourage and put a bright light on whatever they're good at. Yeah. I would like surround them with so much love and like reinforcement, and aim them. And maybe there's some cases where kids don't know what they want to do. Yeah. And that's for the parent to really inspire them down a path that could really help solve the world's problems, because America's going to need awesome engineers. Yeah. Right? If we care about our country, national defense, you want Americans there.
Yes, you do.
Like if you care about our country and national defense, you know it has to be machine learning and computer science. You know it has to be like, you know, next level technologies. Mm-hmm. And we want all types of Americans to be there at the ready. Yeah. Because there's a shortage of engineers. If you would ask Boeing and Lockheed Martin or the Department of Defense, what areas of workforce development are we lacking at? They're going to tell you engineers. They're going to tell you like computer scientists. They're going to tell you, you know, AI folk. Yeah. And so this is an American thing. It's a humane thing. Yeah. Because, you know, at the same time as there's all this investment to make the machine smarter, the same is not to make people smarter. So now it's a humane thing for parents to fight for. Like, yo, if there's trillions of dollars of investment to make machines smarter, that's coming from the Googles, the Facebooks, the Amazons, and, you know, private companies, well, where's the efforts to make our kids smarter? Or are we just going to have this like super lopsided tomorrow where the machine is dominant to the communities and the people that live in them? Yeah. So this is a very touchy crossroad that we were in. And I see it in music, right? So what is that simplified in the form of music? The whole world loves roboticness. There's not one song on the radio that don't have a computer on the voice. There's not one freaking song on top 10 that it was made with people playing instruments. It's all the freaking computer. So we're seeing it like swallow the craftsmanship of music. And that's cool because I use the hell out of the computer. And so some people could be like, what are you talking about, will.i.am? You got auto-tune on all the songs. Duh. But that doesn't mean that it should be lopsided.
Right.
It's like super lopsided right now. And so, you know, but it's not just in music. It's in the food we eat. It's in, what I mean by that is like what we order, how we order, the ease of like convenience. Everything is so convenient that what's hard is not being done. Like it's hard to, you know, to get, you know, a league of excellent kids up to speed.
Yeah.
It's hard to make sure that, you know, money's allocated to where our future is protected, to where America's leading tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, if you were to ask all the heads of these companies, where do all your top developers come from? Mm-hmm. Where are your CTOs coming from? Yeah. They're going to tell you they're coming from India, China. Yeah. But to say like, you know, who's going to these, that's why I'm like, you know, Jakobi, like, yo, what's up? That's dope. You coming from Florida and you going to Cornell University. That's freaking awesome. I'm proud of you. That's dope. Appreciate and you play football, but like, you didn't say I want to play for the freaking Dodgers. Like, that's dope. It's entertainment. Your dream is like, you know, civil engineering for aimed at with the focus on sustainability. That's dope. Yeah. That's freaking awesome. That's brilliant. We need more Jakobis. What did your mom and dad do to get you to who you are, and how do we repeat that? How do we have a whole bunch of Jakobis?
Right. And you know, that's something that's super funny that you brought up, because both of my parents are educators. So that's how I was instilled with that lifelong learners type mentality. And B, I received my love for engineering, right? My STEM major, what I wanted to do, in Mumbai, India, right? So I received it elsewhere. I received that passion for engineering overseas. And now I came back here to refine the craft. So why couldn't I have found that passion here, right? And then branched outwards to make that difference. So what you're saying is completely spot on. And I am a living testament to that.
So that's why you went to Mumbai.
Yeah, so actually both of my parents taught abroad there. My mom kind of had the travel bug early on and brought us over there. And so they taught at an international school there for a year, my 5th grade year, and I went to the school.
Man, okay, what nationality are your parents?
Yeah, so my mom's white, my dad's black. Obviously, I'm mixed, but my mom's from New York area, and then my dad actually stayed in Palmetto, Florida, which is like 30 minutes away from me. So he was homegrown in Florida, which is where I'm from. And then my mom had kind of came down from New York, but she had a travel bug since she was like 18, backpacked across Australia, done a whole bunch of cool things to kind of expose herself to the world.
That's dope, bro. Yeah. That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that international perspective of, you know, had you not gone to Mumbai and see the world, you probably would have been, you know, subject to the neighborhood and the things, the people in the neighborhood and the perspective of the people in the neighborhood that you know, that they had. So had I not got bussed out of East LA to go to school in Brentwood, I probably never would have had the desire to ask, because everybody was poor in our neighborhood. Like going to Brentwood, I had the opportunity to ask people like Brent and Brad, how long have you lived in Brentwood? Or ask people like Sharona, who's Persian. How would I even know what a Persian was? Yeah. Like, where do you know, what do you mean Persian? We're from Iran. Well, Iran, where's Iran? Because they didn't teach us about Iran up until there was a, you know, there was the Iran conflict. And then they had to bring it up in school, but they didn't teach us about like Persian history. And so when they ask, like, when you ask your friends, like, when did you come here? Where's your accent from? Are you Mexican? No, I'm not Mexican. I'm Persian. Where's Persia? Well, Iran. And my parents came here escaping the Civil War. Civil War, because when you think of Civil War, you're thinking of like the American Civil War. You don't realize there's civil wars happening in countries that are fleeing to come to America. Yeah. And then when you go to people like Sharona's or Matab's houses, you know, when they're bringing their classmates over, you're like, wait a second, this is your big old house? I thought you guys escaped the war, and now this is your big house? My whole family's been in America for years, and we in the projects. How are you here in this big ass house? But without seeing that and having that, like, that perspective of going back to your neighborhood, like, oh, okay, well, if Mata's family and Sharona's family could do that, well, shucks, game on. I got to do that. Yeah. And so that's amazing that, you know, salute your mom and dad. My mom was an after school caretaker in the neighborhood I come from. Okay. And my uncle was like a basketball coach. Yeah. But then my other uncle went pro playing football. He played for the Falcons and the Rams. So my uncle Len Kane taught me that, you know, you can make it. Yeah. My uncle Donnie taught me, like, care about the community. And my mom told me, like, protect the kids in the neighborhood. Right. You know, so but I come from a single parent. I never met my dad, but my mom is my dad. So every Father's Day, I'm like, Happy Father's Day, Mom.
Awesome. And we kind of come to that idea of, like, when you're in the States, right, and you've gotten that global perspective, a lot of the things that people talk about are so close-minded, right? Like, they don't have that world point of view. And so for you, I feel like you've made it a point to kind of educate yourself on a global scale, like being a part of the World Economic Forum for global AI counseling and things like that, and being part of the Smart Toy Awards. I feel like you've made it like your duty, right, to gain this distinct vision of how technology functions in our society today, right, and the role that it plays. So my question to you is, 5 years from now, right, knowing everything that you do know about AI and things like that, what could or what should going to school look like to you?
Dang, Jakobi, that's a pretty good question.
Appreciate it. Try my best.
So most people that get up, come out their house, whether they're taking a bus or a train or walking or driving in their car, right. Most people's perspective of school and education is kindergarten, first grade, high school. And there's some people that's like, no, kindergarten, high school, college, 4 years. And there's some people like, no, kindergarten, elementary, high school, college, and then another 4 years, college, like 8 years college. That's all going to change, because moving forward is forever learning. You don't ever stop learning. You can't sustain it. Right. We have this new thing here. Directions to the airport. We have this new thing here.
Which airport?
Orly Airport.
Getting directions to Paris Orly Airport.
All right. Directions to have more money in my bank account in the next 5 years. I can't.
Directions to where?
More money in my account in 5 years' time.
Where would you like to go?
I want to go from poverty to wealth.
Which wealth?
Richer than I am now.
Could you try again?
Right. So right now, it's not there yet.
Yeah.
I should be able to go anywhere I want to go. A person should be able to ask this intelligence anywhere to guide you, right? It's using GPS to be able to get me from point A to point B. But what if my point A to point B is not physical? It's not geographical. Maybe it's mental. Maybe it's, physical, health-wise. Like, I need to go from 110 85 pounds to 160 pounds in the next year and a half. Guide me with eating regimens and workout regimens and help me stay on course.
Yep.
She can't do that.
Yep.
It's not there yet.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You know, the way that we're able to integrate technology now, and that was a beautiful example. I mean, that handheld device, especially for Gen Z, right? My generation, we live and die by our phones, by the social media that we use, right? By all of the people that we text, all of the people that we're calling, that we use it, you know, for our main basis of information. But do we truly understand what that is, right? Because until we can have that relationship with the things that we spend the most time with, right? Until we truly understand what they're getting out of us and what we're getting out of them, right? We can't be informed users of technology.
Yeah, right now we have Alexa, we have Siri, we have Cortana no more, we have Watson.
Yeah.
Alexa, Siri, Watson. We don't have Cornell.
Yeah.
We don't have, Mr. Stanford.
Yeah.
We don't have, Senor Dartmouth. we don't have this knowledge bucket. That's all you use it for, is like conversational, contextual computing to help you and quiz you at the ready.
Yeah.
Right? That understands your needs and sees the gaps and helps guide you through that to retain information.
Yeah.
This thing is like the smartest, most dumbest thing right now. Right? And that's because it's not complete yet.
Yeah.
This is when Cornell has its AI professor for any subject, right? It's like you're going to get your Cornell platform.
Yep.
It's going to say, "Hello, William," and you're going to do this, and boom, it'll captured. You're going to put that on it for my thumbprint. Then it's going to say, "What are your interests?" It's going to ask me questions. It's going to, psychoanalyze me, and to understand all the parameters of how to better, guide me and towards the area that I'm interested in. So I'm at the end of its course, which is forever, really.
Right.
I'm more knowledgeable in that subject or a combination of subjects.
Yeah.
And at any given time, I have access to that bucket of knowledge.
Right.
So, and it's all there. They just have to sequence the data. They have to contextualize it and make it conversationable. Like what I'm saying is all plausible.
Yeah.
And it will change education forever.
Yes, it will.
Right. And whether that thing is like some like swipeable, technology, or if it's like, some avatar that understands my facial expressions because the machine vision, machine learning on the camera to be like, "How are you today?" And helps me, with my breathing to calm and relax so I could then get into a better learning environment. Right. That's 24/7.
Yeah.
Mentor, tutor, professor.
Right.
But right now you got a professor, then you got a mentor, then you got a tutor. Tomorrow is just all one thing, bro. It's a mentor, professor, tutor, AI platform to help you rest medicine.
Yeah.
That was you don't know that one. That was a NyQuil commercial, but that was went over your head.
A little bit, but it's all good. We're speaking so much about futurity, right? We're speaking about the future of artificial intelligence and the future of technology and the role that it's going to play in a few years' time, right? Where we can put those 3 or 4 or 5, social capital resources into one handheld device, right? But for now, we're rooted in the present, right? With the educators that we do have, with the resources that we do have available to us. So from you, do you have any final words of wisdom for the educators that are out there right now watching on how to incorporate STEAM right into the classroom and how to incorporate underserved students into those?
So educators now, it's important to start preparing the youth for this shift, because the youth now, eventually they're going to be the 30-year-olds making decisions. The youth now their parents pacified them with the device. All they know, you would have thought that there was a freaking touchpad in the womb. These kids know how to rock it. With no tutorial, talk about intuitive design. They know how to find it. I have a nephew who's autistic. He knows exactly where everything's at. Like, wow. He can't speak, but he knows exactly how to find. Like, here's something he can. It's beautiful that his name is Chris. It's beautiful that Chris can navigate the iPad and the iPhone and go exactly to where he wants to go. We can't talk to Chris. We don't know when Chris is hungry. Chris has to go to the iPhone, show a picture of food. Who taught him how to do that? This device it's been mapped to in ways that we've never been mapped. So how do you prepare the kids for this tomorrow that's right around the corner? It's super important to prepare kids for this super beyond disruptive. I don't know if you remember, how old are you, 20?
I'm 18 at the moment.
Okay. 18. So in 2008, 9, and 10, the keyword to every seminar was disruption. Disruption. That's that was like the hot word. Disruption. And it happened. Yeah. Disruption happened. The device, iOS and Android, disrupted taxis in ways that you never would have imagined. Like, think about the civility of getting cabs to stop for Black people in Queens and Harlem. Yeah. How many years they were trying to stop for the Black kids, stop for Black folks, and how many jokes that were made like, I can't get a cab in New York. You know who changed that, who solved that problem? Uber.
Lyft, all those.
Uber and Lyft solved the problem that governments and taxi companies just couldn't get their hands on. They couldn't solve that problem. Yeah. But here comes a platform that are like, you're your data, and your rides in the past give you a point or points to where now a driver sees you as points and credible and not skin color. It's beautiful. Yeah. Concerning if we go into a point system, right. Everything, right. Because at the same time, there's no governance and no regulations on this yet. There's no regulations on facial recognition yet. There's no regulations on selling data to foreign nations yet. There's no regulations on AI on kids' toys yet. Right. That's right around the corner. But this disruption is now turned into something a little different and a little bit is a sharper sting on this new version of disruption that's coming if we don't prepare. Because in the conversations from 2010, the excitement of iOS, right, what it did to developers, it birthed a whole new generation of computer scientists, right? It turned computer scientists that couldn't get a job at IBM as a computer scientist or couldn't get a job at Xerox or the big tech companies to like, you know what? I'm my own company.
Start it up.
And I'm going to bring an app to this new device called iPhone, which has this new platform called iOS. It revolutionized everything, but with that disruption did not come preparation. And here we are at a crossroads where now we have to start preparing folks because the disruption, the tsunami is even bigger. The wave is going to topple the skyscrapers. Hence the reason why, as the world opens up, the companies that have the skyscrapers have no employees in them because now we don't have to go to the big offices anymore. Yeah. I'm here in Paris right now. I was hanging out with Jack Dorsey from Twitter. I'm like, hey, so when are you guys going back to your office? He's like, we're not. It's remote working. He's like, people can go back to work if they want, but most people are just working remotely because that's the kind of company that we built. And the big companies that made a whole lot of money this year realized that, hey, we had awesome years. We had awesome returns, and we made a whole lot of money, and people were not in the office.
Right.
And so what's going to come with that is, as the world opens back up, it's not going to open up as it was. How do you prepare for that? How do you like encourage and nurture a whole new type of workforce that's remote at the core from the jump? Yep, we got a new business and we don't have an office. That's brand new. Officeless companies, like branchless banks.
Right.
That's first one was in the UK, a bank called Adam Bank. I sat on the board of for a couple of years. Now there's new branchless banks. That's going to be the norm. And education will be branchless education. We know, like, remote education, what school do you go to? I go to, Arizona State. Really? I never see you in Arizona. Oh no, online. we know those online courses they take.
Yeah.
Online courses is going to go to the next level 2030. And there'll be more folks that go to MIT, that go to Cornell, that go to Stanford, that get awesome education from remote corners of the world, or scholarships that are digital only and come out of it the most advanced engineer for this new remote, workforce that created companies that never had an office, no one ever stepping foot into a building. We got to prepare the kids for this world. And I know it's like futurism is right around the corner, but it's going to happen. It's happening right now.
I want to start off by saying thank you to will.i.am for such an amazing interview and just for such a great experience as a whole. And I love the message from Will and the good he's doing to give back to the world. As someone who's so passionate about engineering myself, I'm thrilled with the work of the I Am Angel Foundation and its focus on STEM. He's amplifying teaching and elevating learning. I'm all for it. This past year has undoubtedly reshaped the way that we view learning. As a generation, we've been tasked with overcoming the pitfalls of online learning, also known as the distraction of our handheld devices, but more importantly, the significance of mental health and the awareness of self. With many of us experiencing extended hours of isolation, it was imperative that we develop methods to self-regulate and promote intrinsic motivation to ensure our own success. In doing so, my generation, with the help of educational support systems, fancy way of saying teachers and administrators, we were able to thrive in a world filled with chaos and uncertainty. Through these unparalleled times in our lives, we've built a worldwide community that continues in its persistence, regardless of circumstance, and is fueled by the passion and dedication of those who educate us. Coming from a household of 2 teachers, I've observed firsthand the challenges that this past year has put in front of you. From the uncertainties of schools reopening, to hybrid education options, to the final consensus that resulted in many of you conversing through computer screens, much like I'm doing with you all today, it seems that many of you became students once again, learning to operate all kinds of new amazing computer systems in order to ensure that your students were receiving the education that they deserved. Through it all, you made sure to put the needs of your students first. For many of us, you made school feel like a second home. Although our world seemed to be changing by the second, you provided those affirmations that instilled in us a desire to be lifelong learners. Thank you. You inspire us. We're so glad that you tuned into InstructureCon this year. We hope it was inspiring to you, and we hope that we can do this again in person next year. Thank you.